Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Christopher, it's me. I'm in Silent Hill. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Sharon's lost, but I think I know where she is, so I'm going to school to look for her.
Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Movie Show. Very loud Monday Movie Show as well. Before we go any further, I do want to apologise for if you hear any loud bangs or whatever. It is November the 5th, so what do you expect? Lots of fireworks outside. We have 3 films to review this week, and I forgot to even introduce Andy.
That's okay. Fine. Okay, I'll remember. Silent Hill Revelation, sequel to the first movie based on the game. French drama Rust and Bone, and a little bizarre movie called Excision.
Yeah, on top of that, we have some movie news and the UK box office top 10, but as usual...
Some movie news. We have a bucket load of movie news.
And the UK box office top 10, but as usual, you can get us on the live chat on Spreaker. Just speak to us in the chat at the bottom and give us your comments on any of the news stories or films that we review tonight. So without further ado, let's get the UK box office top 10 out the way with.
Yep, start at number 10 with Ice Age Continental Drift returning back in.
Yeah, you know the only reason why it's back in the top 10, it's down to the fact that children are off for half term, so it managed to squeak in there from all the Saturday showings of it. So I'm surprised that the only reason why it's managed to get in there also, it's down to the fact that one of the films has gone and just taken everything at the box office. So any movie that went over 100,000 this week easily guaranteed itself in the top 10.
Number 9 sees Beast of the Southern Wild.
Yeah, it's a film we've not seen, but it's a film that I'm really, really interested in. It centres around a 6-year-old girl called Hush Puppy who lives with her father in this small, remote village. And the ice caps are melting, which it's going to cause this village to be flooded, but also unleash these fairies and stuff. Some critics have been saying that mixing something as serious with the elements of fairies and fantasy is a bit weird, but a lot of critics seem to really like this film, and I'm highly interested in it.
Number 8, Looper.
Yeah, we both found it to be a really intellectual film. It's nice to have an intellectual film, not only in the top 10, but out in the cinema, just to prove that not everybody who goes to the cinema wants to go there for big explosions. Well, unlike today, a perfect time for that, isn't it? It's got Bruce Willis in it and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who are both brilliant actors, and they've both shown how fantastic they are at acting. And Emily Blunt, she practically steals the show in a way from Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis, because she is just unbelievably brilliant in it.
Yeah, totally agree. Frankenweenie is at number 7.
It's the only one I've not seen. I before we came on air, we was contemplating who was going to do the top 10, and I forgot Frankenweenie was in the top 10 still. I've not seen it.
That's it. It is a really good animation film, but just weak on story and enough to stretch it out for a 90-minute film. It's based on an original short by Tim Burton, and really should have just stayed the shorts. It's not. That's not saying it's a bad film. It's just that it's a nice homage to the horror films of old, just that it needs more. It hasn't really got the legs that are necessary for it. At number 6, more horror with Sinister.
Yeah, it's probably the best film that's been released around Halloween. It is, I would say, the best horror released in the last month at the cinema. For the first 45 minutes, that is, anyway. Because I keep saying each week that the first part of the film works really well because it is creepy, and it's an interesting stance to take, the found footage kind of idea, but do a little bit something different with it. It just feels in the last hour, and it's a pity because what Derrickson has managed to do, has got Derrickson the director, is like I said, he's managed to do something that feels a bit slightly more fresh, and he just wastes the opportunity with the last hour of the movie.
And number 5, a film starring Adam Sandler that doesn't suck. Hotel Transylvania, blah.
But that impression sucked badly. It's a fun little inoffensive animated movie. It'll not blow your socks away, but it'll give you enjoyment for the 90 minutes that it's actually on, and it's a fun little animated movie.
I suspect the comments will be very different for the number 4 film, Paranormal Activity 4.
Yeah, it's just an awful, awful film. The Paranormal Activity series should have stopped at number 2. When they brought Henry Juice and Ariel Schulman in to do the third one, and they made it a prequel. It was an interesting idea, getting two people who did a film called Catfish, which was all about Facebook, and just to try and do something different with the Paranormal Activity films. Unfortunately, what they've gone and done is the same kind of thing that Oren Peli seems to be doing with his films as of late, and just making them so generic and boring that they just lose all their scares and what the original film was building up. And we do now need another horror film or a horror series to come along and kick this found footage series just away, because we're sick of it now.
I don't think it really gets any better with number 3 film, Taken 2.
Slightly, just slightly better, but that's a bit of an understatement, because Taken 2 is still a rubbish film. It's just slightly better than Paranormal Activity 4, because, well, I don't know why. It just is slightly better. Liam Neeson's just in it for money. That's all he's in it. It's a very cynical film, and the only good thing about it is the director, Oliver Megaton, because that's an awesome name.
Yeah, it all comes down to the name of the director to actually save the movie. Number 2, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted.
Yeah, one of the best animated films of this year, and I can't believe I'm saying that, considering that the first 2 Madagascar films, even though they're quite enjoyable, they're a bit meh, to put it nicely. The third one is by far the best in the series. There is so much going on in the film and so much enjoyment to be had. Anybody, any age, will get something from this movie. There is something for everybody in it, and it's so colourful and bright to watch. It's just a feast for the eyes, and it is my second favourite animated film of the year.
And number 1, surprise, surprise, Skyfall.
Yeah, which me and Andy have slightly contrasting views on Skyfall. I actually want to know what people think about it in the live chat, what they thought of Skyfall, if they agree with Andy, who really, really, really liked it.
I don't know, really liked it. Really liked it.
Well,
I have issues with it, but I did really enjoy it.
Your review on Following the Nerd definitely hints towards the really, really, really liked it. 4.5 out of 5 is an extra really, is 3 reallys, not 2. It's an average film in my eyes. It's one of the best Bond films. I definitely have to give it that, because it's not one of those Bond movies where I thought, yeah, it is extremely generic, because Daniel Craig is starting to show that he is the right person to be Bond, and given the naysayers who when he originally got the job as James Bond, thinking that no, he's not going to be very good at all, he's now proven that he is a decent James Bond with Skyfall. It's just, the more I thought about the movie and the more problems I had with it after I came out the cinema after seeing it, the more I was thinking, actually, this is starting to become a bit more average than I thought it was. It's shot beautifully. There is some absolutely gorgeous shots in the film. It's just, it falls apart the more you watch the movie, the more it just unravels more and more.
Nathan, as we are the Holocaust in chat, she said, I was very impressed with Skyfall. I wouldn't say it's my favourite Bond film, but I would say I really liked it as a modern Bond. I have to agree with that. I mean, it's not my favourite Bond film. It's close. Casino Royale is my favourite Bond film. But I think this is a worthy successor to that, unlike Quantum of Solace.
Quantum of Soildas, as I call it.
I've not heard that one before.
Yeah, I can get away with that. But did you not find the fact that that the bad guy just became too generic? He had malevolence in him. But Javier Bardem, he really did have malevolence in him when you first met him. But the more the film went on, the more he just was more intent on going after one person rather than his proper goal, his goal that he set out for.
I think that my issue with Javier Bardem in the film was that whenever I saw him for about half of the film, I was thinking he's trying to do Heath Ledger's Joker. He's trying to do something similar to that, and it doesn't work for a Bond film. That was the one thing that I really disliked about his character. Every time I looked at him, I saw that.
He's trying to do more of a homosexual version of Hannibal Lecter. Even though if you know the backstory of Hannibal Lecter, he has got that homosexual undertones, and that's how I think he did the character. Javier Bardem's bad guy. I forgot his name. What is his...
Silver?
Yeah, that's it.
Silver, yeah.
Even because if you do see a part of the film, which I'm not going to give away, it does show that he has got a lot of Hannibal Lecter in his character. It's just I think he loses that, and he was more scarier in the first 20 minutes you met him than he was in the rest of the film.
Shall we try and get on with this gargantuan amount of news that we've got to go through?
Yeah.
Starting with that Disney, as many people will be aware of now because it broke just after last week's show, I think.
Typical.
Has made a deal to buy Lucasfilm from its founder George Lucas for $4.05 billion. That is billion, not million.
And we have our little finger on our mouth at the moment doing a Dr. Evil impression.
$4.05 billion. Or £2.5 billion for anyone who really cares. The announcement comes with further details on Disney intends to make further trilogy in the Star Wars universe, which will be released in 3D. No size, no? I was expecting something there. The deal also includes the rights to the Indiana Jones series, so both of the two series that have spawned a career for Harrison Ford have basically been bought over. Kathleen Kennedy, the current co-chairman of Lucasfilm, will become its president and report to Walt Disney Studio chairman Alan Horn.
This is probably what was needed for Lucas, because I think Lucas over the years, Lucas Arts Films, that is, over the years, has been concentrating more on the special effects side of their company, so lending it their special effects and then the name of Star Wars, because you look at what Family Guy has done with the Star Wars name, and look at Robot Chicken. The proof is that Seth Green, who does Robot Chicken, is now going to be doing a Star Wars animated series for Disney XD, because that's where the Clone Wars is now getting put on Disney. They're going to be put on Disney XD instead of Cartoon Network, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens, how harsh Disney is going to be on people doing things like that now, more parodies. But it whether we want to see another Star Wars film, now we have no say in it, as long as they try something different with it.
I wonder where they'll sit with the Star Wars things that have been done for Family Guy, because that's still Fox, but then Star Wars now belongs to Disney. I wonder if they'll become a collector's item or something. ILM, as far as I know, has also been transferred over. So the big special effects house that does a lot of special effects for movies is now owned by Disney as part of this as well. Although, from what I understand, Disney are happy to leave that running as is.
Yeah, which they need to do that because ILM provides a lot of special effects for other films and other companies anyway. So it's just Disney now flexing their muscles, going, we now have Lucas, so we own Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and even Howard the Duck if they ever want to bring it back. Yay! We also own the film rights to Marvel's universe. So if they want to do whatever they want to do with that, they also own the rights to the Muppets as well. So and they have the Disney arm of it, and you look at see what Wreck-It Ralph did at this box office over the weekend in the US, and that looks like a really good animated film. So it's Disney going, look at us now, companies like Paramount and Fox, we're bigger than you.
Moving on to other news, Bryan Singer is returning to direct the X-Men series with the first-class sequel Days of Future Past. The movie was to be directed by first-class director Matthew Vaughn, who it was announced had departed the project last week for an unknown reason. Singer originally directed the first two X-Men movies before leaving the series at 20th Century Fox to direct Superman Returns for Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I really liked the first two X-Men films. I don't know Singer will actually do with the film.
I think
we'll see.
X-Men 2 is considered by the majority of X-Men fans to be the best X-Men film in the entire series, even better than First Class. And I kind of agree. I hate Final Stand or Last Stand, whichever one is the third one, because that was just a complete betrayal of characters and the series, and awful at parts. It wasn't as terribly bad as it could have been, but it really just was a whole slap in the face to the fans. So I'm looking forward to seeing him return and getting his hands on the franchise, because he knows what he's doing and he's got respect for it all.
Yeah.
Francis Lawrence, director of Constantine and I Am Legend, is to direct the final instalment of the Hunger Games series Mockingjay Parts 1 and 2. The director has been shooting the second movie in the series, Catching Fire, since September, after taking over from the original Hunger Games director Gary Ross, who departed amid concerns that the sequel's production schedule was moving too quickly. Catching Fire is due to be released on November 22nd, 2013, with Mockingjay Parts 1 and 2 due to be released November 21st and November 20th. I don't think I have that down right for some reason, because those two dates will be wrong. But in 2015...
You're getting it right. November the 21st, 2014 for Part 1, and 2015, November the 20th, 2015 for Part 2. So that is actually right.
That is right.
So
I just got the wrong year.
Yeah, so for the next 3 years, as of next year, there will be a Hunger Games film in the cinema. And look at 2015 now. Avengers 2.
Yeah.
A new Star Wars film. The final in the Hunger Games series. And
Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings as well. We've got one of them every year for the next 3 years.
Yeah, the Hobbit, the final part of the Hobbit at the end of the 2015. And you've also got DC's film as well. The DC Universe film, so...
not really holding my breath on that one, but we'll see.
I know, but still, come on, that year is insane.
Inglorious Bar Stewards actor Christoph Waltz is in talks to appear in the next Muppets movie. If he signs on board, he'll play an Interpol inspector who teams with our heroes as they travel around Europe. Waltz will next be seen on screen in Quentin Tarantino's western Django Unchained, which is due out in cinemas on January 18th.
I'm really looking forward to Django Unchained. I really like Christoph Waltz. He's one of those actors who could star in a really, really bad film and still bring gravitas to it. And think that Christoph Waltz was unknown until he starred in Inglourious Basterds. So... He is a really good actor.
There's only one film I can think of that his performance has been really bad, but that's just because of the way the film was done, and that was Green Hornet. It was just an awful role.
It was the best thing about the film, though.
Probably, yeah. I think that's true. Jamie Foxx, who's also going to be in Django Unchained, has been cast in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Oscar-nominated actor's role has been kept under wraps until he tweeted this message on Halloween. Dressed up as Electro for Halloween last night, costume fits well. Sequel, which will see Andrew Garfield return in the role of Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, is due for release on May 2nd, 2014, with Mark Webb also returning to direct.
Oh well, Jamie Foxx is a bad guy.
And the final piece of news from me this evening, 21 films have officially been submitted for Oscar consideration for Best Animated Feature, as opposed to previous years where there was only, I think the most at one year was 3. They include Walter and Tandoori's Christmas, Delhi Safari, Adventures in Zambezia, Secret of the Wings, The Lorax, Hotel Transylvania, A Liar's Autobiography, The Rabbit's Cat, The Painting, Zarafa, From Up on Poppy Hill, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted, Ice Age Continental Drift, The Mystical Laws, Hey Krishna, The Pirates in an Adventure with Scientists, Frankenweenie, Wreck-It Ralph, Paranorman, Rise of the Guardians, and Brave.
I didn't think you would actually read out every single one of the films. All 21 of them. It's nice, though, that there's a lot of films on that list, and you know which one I'm more clamouring for to win that, even though I've still not seen it. Because any mention of a Ghibli film, and it sparks my interest instantly.
But you still also haven't seen the film I'm hoping for, which is Paranorman.
Yeah, I haven't seen Paranorman yet, and so I would probably have seen it by the time the Oscars come around, and obviously Madagascar 3, I'm happy for that. Other films like The Lorax and Hotel Transylvania, no. I know they'll not make the short list of 5, because there will be a short list of 5, and I don't think they'll make that. And I will be surprised also to see from on Poppy Hill in the 5 as well, because it's been a while since a Studio Ghibli film has been nominated for a Best Animated Film at the Oscars, so we'll see. Right, I have a few pieces of news stories to get through quickly. It seems that Skyfall wants to break even more records. Not only does it hold the record for the highest attended film on a Saturday, but now the film has broken the record for the highest taken film over a 7-day period, beating Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
It's amazing that these British... Well, it's not really British, but these British films... Harry Potter is technically a British film. Bond is technically a British film, even though it's now Sony. That are the ones that are coming out and breaking these records.
Yeah, it's getting. I think if I remember reading this morning, it's just hit the 50 million in the UK in 10 days.
It's still yet to open in America in 2 days.
It's got the record in the UK for the highest taken film went to Avatar, which took 90 million. In its run at the box office, so it should easily get past that at this rate.
Yeah,
because if you look over the films that are out over the next few weeks, there isn't a film apart from Twilight Breaking Dawn, which is strong enough to go up against it. So if any film will try and its best to stop Skyfall from getting past the 90 million, it will be Twilight, but they will be battling against each other. So the top 2 films that week, when Twilight will be out, I wouldn't be surprised if we see for the first time in the UK box office top 10 2 films taking more than 10 million. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, Bond will have been out for a while then, so we shall see what happens.
Yeah, next news story, according to Deadline, the next video game to be given the movie treatment will be Wolfenstein, and that Pulp Fiction scribe Roger Avary will write and direct the film. Very little is known about the project, except the fact that the director has said it will have a kind of feel of like Captain America.
Yeah, okay. Not sure what to say.
Final piece of news story. Gareth Evans, the director of The Brilliant The Raid, will direct one of the segments of the VHS sequel, even though VHS is still yet to be released over here. Evans will join Eduardo Sanchez, who did Blair Witch and Lovely Molly, Jason Elsner, who directed Hobo with a Shotgun, and Greg Hill, Adam Wingard, Simon Barrett, and Timo Giargianto. The film will follow the same setup as the original and will feature 6 small horror films interleaved into one.
Well, you know that I love The Raid, but I absolutely abhor Hobo with a Shotgun. I hate that movie with a passion. It was in my worst films, I think, still. Horrible.
I haven't seen it yet.
You'll probably like it because it's that kind of...
Yeah,
you like sort of trauma kind of cheesy horror action gore things.
Yep. Right, now Andy, you've got competition, haven't you?
Yes, being that it is November the 5th, have a little clip for everyone to listen to, after which all you need to do is tell us which film it's from to win that film on DVD. Tell us by Twitter at Monday Movie Show. If you can do hashtag MMS for Monday Movie Show, and tell us what movie it is, and the winner we picked and announced on next week's show. Just to make everyone aware, it's a UK only entry because it's a UK DVD, and you need to apply before next Monday so we can get that sorted out, and then we'll announce that next Monday. So here is the clip.
Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
Cool. So that's hashtag MMS. Tweet it to at Monday Movie Show. Good luck to everyone. As I say, you have to be in the UK because it is a UK DVD. You have to be of 15 years of age or over. And any further details of rules and entry rules on mondaymovieshow.co.uk.
Yeah, just to give them a little tiny bit of a leeway, you can also send the answers to Andy direct at EHDVD, or me, maybe, but send them directly to Monday Movie Show at Monday Movie Show, and we will actually get them. But like Andy said, make sure we use the hashtag MMS. Right, first review of the night, Silent Hill Revelations. Silent Hill Revelations 3D, because I actually did see this in 3D. Now, I've seen a lot of people complain that this wasn't press screened. So any film that's not press screened is a kiss of death. And I've seen people complain, like, for instance, a movie critic, which I like, who does Radio 5 Lives, who filled in on Radio 5 Lives, show. He paid £18.95 to see it. I paid £9 to see it at my cinema in 3D because it was only shown in 3D in the time that I could see it. So, yeah, unfortunately, I had to see it in 3D. The film itself is... It's not a full direct sequel to the original Silent Hill movie, but it's set sometime after the original Silent Hill movie. And it stars Sean Bean, who plays Harry, and Adelaide Clemens, who plays his daughter Heather, or Alicia, or whoever she wants to call herself in the film, because she changes the name a lot. And during the period of time when Heather is being rescued from Silent Hill by her mother, because her mother rescued her and her father is now looking after her, they've both been moving around from city to city, so this faction cannot catch up to them. This group of, I forgot what they're actually called, the Order of the Valtiel. These are the Order who want Heather because they think that she's the person who created hell for them, Silent Hill, and caused the town to be what it's like. And so they've been running for a long period of time trying to stay away from this order. Here's a clip.
Hey, honey. How was your day?
I think there's someone following me. What do I do?
Okay. Don't come back here, not yet. I'll meet you somewhere. Central Square Mall. Okay, be sure.
Okay, I'll meet you at the Happy Burger place.
I'll be there as soon as I can.
Do you think someone knows?
No. No one knows. I'll see you soon.
I love you, Dad.
I love you, too.
So at that end of that clip right there, he's actually been kidnapped. Sean Bean's character Harry is being kidnapped while Heather is at this huge, massive shopping mall. Heather then bumps into somebody at school, Vincent, played by Kit Harington, and when they come home, Heather discovers that her father has gone missing, and she sees a sign written on the wall, "Come to Silent Hill." Evidently, she decides to go to Silent Hill, even though her father has keep on telling her not to. On the way there, she discovers a secret about Vincent, that he has some kind of connection with Silent Hill, and she still wants to get to Silent Hill to try and rescue her father. Now, I really liked the first film. It was directed by Christophe Gans, who did it in 2006, 2007, if I remember correctly, and it was perfectly matched to the video game. It had the feel of the video game. He had the style right. He had the feel right. And it did have tension, and it had nice amounts of gore in it. And it was, in my eyes, it's one of the best video game / films. The problem with this one is it's absolute garbage. Because what...
Oh, dear. You went there.
Yeah, I haven't used the word for a while, though. But what Michael J. Bassett has done... Now, the previous film he did was Solomon Kane. Now, I didn't have that much of a problem with Solomon Kane. It's an okay movie. But what he's done with this, he thinks that he's managed to capture the style and feel of the third game, because it is loosely based on the third game. But it's the one... It is not one. It is the most messiest film I've seen this year. The film itself barely has a structure. It barely pieces together the set pieces. There is gore in the movie. There is specifically a scene in the shopping mall where Heather's walked past the door because she keeps on seeing these visions of Silent Hill. And she sees this mutated, sort of like Clive Barker-esque character if there were Cenobites. Just peeling flesh off this person. And you see gore and the person's still alive and there's a bit of blood there. And there's blood during the film, and it's just an absolute mess of a movie. It makes no sense whatsoever. There is one scene in the movie which I liked, which I thought was shot really well, and it involves a carousel and Heather coming up against her evil counterpart. But that doesn't make a really good film. It showed you that a really good scene was engulfed by an absolute car crash of a movie. It's pathetic. It's a pathetic film, and it should be avoided. And if people badmouth the original, you should see this one, because then you'll forgive the original.
You sound like you really did not like this film.
I was annoying to hear people badmouth the original by saying that it was boring, or I'm guessing that they didn't know about the video game. If they see this one, they'll think that the original is Oscar worthy, because honestly, it's a mess.
Rust and Bone, or as it is called, the original French title, Déroule et Douce, I think is the right way, or Déroule et Douce. I don't know how to pronounce that exactly. Perhaps someone who speaks French will know. It's written and directed by Jacques Audiard, and stars Marion Cotillard as Stephanie and Matthias Schoenaerts as Alan. Now, these two characters at the start of the film don't know each other at all. Alan, at the start of the film, is a man who's travelling to find his sister. He's travelling with his young son, who he's just basically been given custody of, or taken ownership of, from his wife, who is a drug mule. And the issues that arise is that he has his son. He's not really interested in looking after him, but he's broke, has no money or anything, moves in with his sister, who takes them in and cares for the son and looks after him while he's trying to then find a job. What he does do is find a job at a local bar as a bouncer, where he's then one night bumps into Stephanie, who is caught in the middle of a fight, and unfortunately punched in the face and her nose is bleeding. He then takes her home, drops her off where she's there with her boyfriend, so it's not anything sort of happened between the two of them, although they are having this sort of flirty thing going on. And he then leaves after noting that she is a trainer who swims with killer whales at one of the local sea parks. Shortly thereafter, there is an accident at the sea park which has a effect on Stephanie. I'm not going to say what it is because there is a spoiler element to it, but something happens to her which then leaves her in a situation where Alan then comes to her help, and the two of them start up this friendship. We don't have a clip for the film because it is all spoken in French. There's no point playing that on the radio clip or the radio show, but the thing about Rust and Bone is that essentially it is a romantic drama without the romance. And I know that sounds really strange. It's a really good drama, very dark, because there's also sequences where Alan he becomes sort of like a bare knuckle fighter. He does sort of kickboxing and such, and ends up fighting in fights for money and betting and such. And it's the whole thing of how their friendship then becomes more than friendship, but without ever actually having any kind of romance to it. Which, as I say again, is weird, but it's oddly entertaining and oddly engrossing to watch. On no small part because of the fact that both these actors, Marion Cotillard and Matthias Schoenaerts, are absolutely fantastic in their roles. Marion Cotillard is brilliant as ever. She's seen her in most of the things. She's really great in the film because of what her character goes through and what she has to portray for that. Matthias Schoenaerts has this whole thing of him not caring about his son, and he also then has this great thing. I mean, his character is quite awful at the start. The way he treats his son and things that he does to his son at the start of the film are really, you do not like his character because of that, and it's intentionally so. So there's great character performance in this, great acting, fairly decent writing, decent direction. The only thing I would say is it is just over 2 hours in length. It could have been a little bit shorter to be just a bit more compacted and not drag on a bit as it does, as things sort of start to get a bit cheesy towards the end. But that's not saying that it's bad. I really enjoyed it. The audience I was in seemed to really enjoy it. It's not a comedy, so don't expect it to be a comedy. It's a full-on blown drama which covers some difficult topics But at the end, it's one of these exhausting but really entertaining movies.
Right, on to our final film, Excision. Now, I don't know how I'm going to try to manage to properly describe this movie because it is the most twisted film I've seen this year. It's directed by first-time director Richard Bates Jr. and it stars Annalyn McCord, who plays Pauline, who's this very strange 18-year-old girl. She doesn't fit in with anybody whatsoever at school. Because she deems herself to be the outcast of all outcasts. And during the day, she has this morbid fascination of dreaming about... Now, this is the part where I'm actually going to struggle, because trying to describe this film is really difficult, considering the kind of show that we do. She dreams about morbid situations that she wants to get herself into. Extreme morbid situations. It doesn't help with the fact that her mother, played by Tracy Lords, is this really horrible, horrible person. She doesn't treat her daughter very well at all. She treats her with complete disdain. Her family life is not very good at all. She's a horrible, horrible mother. She thinks she's really high and mighty. She's well into God. And she wants her daughter to do exactly what she expects her to do, rather than having a sort of life of her own. Her father is one of these yes people who'll do exactly what her mother says. It's Bob, played by Roger Bart. And then you've got a guidance counsellor who's a priest, played by John Waters. And... Pauline's sort of like teacher, who's this person who doesn't give a damn about anybody, played by Malcolm McDowell. And no other wonder, if you watch the film, you'll see why Pauline regresses into this dream state world where she can dream about what she wants to do to people, what she'd rather do, because she's this really sort of like ugly kind of nasty person. But in her dream state, she's this beautiful, sadistic, insane person, and it culminates into a scene which is extremely shocking at the end of the movie, which you don't see coming, and it's really hard to watch. The only time that I've had a difficult weekend with the films that I've watched, because one film that I'm going to review in the DVD and Blu-ray section of the show has an extremely shocking scene in it. This will probably go toe-to-toe with that scene, because this is really difficult to watch. The film itself can be hard to follow at times. It's deemed as a black comedy horror. I didn't laugh, because black comedy movies are subjective to whether you get black comedy, and sometimes there is a couple of scenes where you might smirk, because the humour is a bit interesting. And there is a scene which is a bit disgusting, but it is sadistically funny. It's the film itself is... It's a brave film. It's out on DVD next week, so if you can't see it at the cinema, it's worth a one-time watch just to see how extreme Richard Bates Jr. goes in his first movie. And he's one of these directors who I think he'll follow on suit with directors who did movies like Me and Dead Girl. They're very small little indie movies which very few people seem to have heard of, and in the indie horror scene they seem to garner a lot of praise, and this is probably one of those kind of movies which fits into that category. I can't say whether I liked it or hated it. It's a difficult film to categorise in like or hate. It's not a film which goes in the middle. It's a film which will completely divide people's opinions. But if you manage to come across an opinion, you're more a braver person than I am, because it's a really hard film to see if I liked it or not. I probably will, maybe when I mention it next week, actually have an answer whether I liked it or not. But I think I need more time to digest the movie, because it is one of those films where after you've seen it, you'll go, what did I just watch? It's a what did I just watch film.
I'm looking forward to seeing what your review of this movie in the DVD section is going to be like. I really am.
I'll give you a quick hint. I liked the DVD one more than I liked this one.
Ooh, interesting.
So I'll just say that.
Okay.
Right, do you want to quickly mention the competition again before we leave?
Well, should we do that in the DVD section again? We'll leave it to the DVD section, because we've done it once in this half of the show.
We'll mention the competition in the DVD/Blu-ray section of the show, which is coming up in a moment live on Spreaker. If you listen back on iTunes or YouTube or any other place where we put the show up, then just rewind the show back about another 15 minutes and listen to the clip then, or download the DVD and Blu-ray section of the show. Not only will you get a full show, you'll also get the chance to listen to the clip again, and it might be awesome. You never know. I'm second guessing ourselves here, so we'll be back in a moment live on Spreaker with the Blu-ray and DVD section of the show.